You are listening to Radio Koraput. Today was a wonderful day as in the field of journalism. We have a very great tool of expression that is called as cartoon. And when we say cartoon, automatically people connect this word with none other than R.K. Laxman. R.K. Laxman, his full name was Rasipuram Krishna Swami Iyer Lakshman, and he was born in 1921 on 24th October. So he was an Indian cartoonist, illustrator, and humorist. He is best known for his creation, The Common Man, and for his daily cartoon strip, You Said It in the Times of India, which started in 1951. So today is his birthday. So on this occasion, we have the opportunity of talking to Professor Sourav Gupta of Central University of Orissa uh, to talk about the great achievement and the work that R.K. Laxman has done for Indian media and also as an Indian as a whole. So we welcome Professor Gupta to this discussion on Radio Koraput. Sir, we welcome you and we want to know about R.K. Laxman through your eyes.
Thank you, Sandakar sir. I greet Radio Koraput and I also offer my sincere pranam to Sri R.K. Laxman, who is the premier cartoonist, and it is his birth centenary in this 2020. R.K. Laxman is the younger brother of R.K. Narayan, the illustrious and revered author of English language literature in India. So, but in spite of being the brother of such a great author, R.K. Laxman never got overshadowed by the stature of his brother, and rather by his own work, he carved a niche for himself. As we know that in human civilization, we have a pictorial culture of representation. And very often we say that the first communication which was ever made, that was the picture of the stone carving of the rhinoceros in the Al Tamira caves of Egypt. That is considered to be the first communication of this world. Even in India, we have this pictorial tradition of communication. Be it the Ajanta Ellora cave or the temples of Khajuraho and Konark, India has a rich tradition of representing through lines and paintings. Cartoons are a special type of representation, and a good cartoonist does not only draw, but he also represents a very stark situation, a stark reality through humor. So there are two qualities which a good cartoonist demands. One is the ability to draw, and the second is to pass on a comment on a very serious matter, but in a lighter vein. And this is where R.K. Laxman excelled. All painters are basically very good observers, and R.K. Laxman's tryst with cartooning began in his childhood through his observation skills. In his autobiography, The Tunnel of Time, R.K. Laxman writes, I quote, I drew objects that caught my eye outside the window of my room. The dried twigs, leaves, and lizard-like creatures crawling about, the servants chopping firewood, and of course, number of crows in various postures on the rooftop of the buildings opposite. Thus, we can see that by observing his natural surroundings, the sense of the pictorial communication grew inside Laxman. And very soon, he started painting. He was encouraged by his teachers, and he made up his mind to take up drawing as a full-time profession. It's a very ironical thing that he was rejected by the J.J. Institute of Applied Art, and they said that he did not possess the talent to get into that college. We have heard similar stories about many great actors who have faced rejection from either the National School of Drama or the Pune Film Institute. So Lakshman also faced a similar rejection, but he did not give up. He went on with his artistic activities and joined as an animator in a newspaper called Swarajya. And he started an animated film based on the mythological character Narada. This is a very important landmark in Lakshman's career because, as we all know, that Narada is an journalist of the ethereal world who used to report everything what is going on. And he was a commentator also. Whatever was going on between the Devatas and the Asuras, in Hindu philosophical texts and ancient mythology, we find Narada playing the role of a journalist, and very humorously and in a very lighter tone, lighter vein, he used to pass comments on what was going on. And this is where the seeds of cartooning was sowed in Lakshman's career. Another very important association of Lakshman was with the Kannada humor magazine Koraput. Dr. M. Shivaram, who ran this monthly magazine, dedicated this magazine to humorous and satirical articles and cartoons. Shivaram himself was an eminent humorist in Kannada. He encouraged Lakshman. To my mind, the effort in Swarajya, making the cartoon on Narada, and his cartooning in Korabhanji under the mentorship of Dr. M. Shivaram brought out the cartoonist, as we know, R.K.Laxman. And it was from the character of Narada that he developed his famous common man character. Now, what was the difference between Lakshman's cartooning and the cartooning of the others? Here I must say that Lakshman was an ardent follower and heavily influenced by Sir David Lowe, the British cartoonist, and he used to follow the Punch magazine. Very religious. But he developed his own style of cartooning. What was the style? The style was that Lakshman used to take up political issues, governance issues, issues related to administration. But he never took a partisan stand. He represented the viewpoint on a certain issue, a viewpoint which was subscribed by the common man of our country, a simple layman, how he was viewing the incident. I can cite one example here that a lady is going through the streets and everywhere the dirt is, the garbage is there. And in spite of that, she says to the common man that, look how clean our city is. And the common man suddenly spots a newspaper in the garbage bin where the headline reads that the cleaning campaign is successful. Another example I can give is that a foreigner expert has been invited by the government of our country to give suggestions on how the potholes of our roads may be repaired. This is also something which I associate very locally in Koraput. Our roads are also in bad condition. So that in that cartoon, it is showing that the foreign expert is saying to his Indian counterpart that it is impossible to repair so much of potholes every year. I am really disgusted. Kindly build a flyover over the potholes. So when he's saying that, the common man is an onlooker. The common man character by R.K. Laxman is basically an onlooker. He represents the layman Indian. The common man is the Indian who cannot do anything but to only see that whatever is going around him is not correct. Through his eyes, Lakshman establishes that whatever is going around us, everything is not happening in the way we would have liked to. And corruption has become a great disease in our country, which is jeopardizing all the developmental initiatives of our country.
So,
In-
living this, this all is great about R.K. Laxman. And do you see his influence on the cartoonists of the present day in the newspapers and media houses who are engaged in that? Do you see an influence of his work on these cartoonists?
well, there has been a huge impact of R.K. Lakshman's work on the present day cartoonists. All the cartoons which are being done nowadays are basically on the Lakshman model.
Yeah.
Obviously, it has become characteristics of the cartoon to mock or to pass a satirical comment on the big people, on the big shots, on the great politicians, on the very strong leaders. They mock them or the several initiatives which backfire sometimes. Sometimes the government takes some decisions without a lot of putting a lot of thinking, and the common man they face a lot of problem at the ground level. Sometimes the government officials do not cooperate. Sometimes, so there are a lot of pains and sufferings which are going on, and the cartoonist is taught from the day one through Lakshman's work that he is the spokesperson of the common person. He is the voice of the society. Basically, a cartoonist is an extension of a journalist. But the difference is a journalist puts the reality as it is with information, while the cartoonist portrays the same reality through a, a colored glass, a glass of humor. It is
So,
a very rare one.
as the teacher in the faculty of journalism, so how do you see the interest of students towards cartoons as making as a career as a journalist?
Well, not only students, all sections of readers of the newspapers are fascinated by cartoons. There is no doubt about it. Because the cartoons have diminished over the years, largely due to the changing pattern of newspaper revenue model and economy. But there is hardly any newspaper which has been able to stop cartoon altogether. Because there are dedicated readers of the newspapers who look out for the cartoon. The young generation, they are fascinated by cartoons. And let me tell you that it is a rare quality to mock at people, to pass a satirical comment. It is not everybody's cup of tea. To find out a humorous angle from a dark and grave matter is a very rare quality. So everybody cannot be a cartoonist, even if he or she is a fine painter.
Yeah.
The
Yes.
problem is that very few possess the quality, and even among them, there are very few who actually want to become professional cartoonists. And I would like to just mention here that Nowadays, we hardly get professional cartoonists because the newspapers are hiring syndicated comic strips from various agencies and syndicates. There are very few newspapers who have cartoonists on their regular payroll. Most of the cartoonists today, barring the frontline media houses, the small newspapers and the weekly newspapers, monthly newspapers, magazines, most of the cartoonists are basically freelancers. Most of the cartoonists basically they get a payment per cartoon basis and they run their uh, profession and through some other related works like graphics. Some of them are engaged in advertising agencies like that. R.K. Lakshman was a rare professional who not only cartooned for the newspapers like Times of India, but he extended his cartooning abilities to all the mass media, starting from film to books to television. But nowadays, the pressure of publishing advertisements eats up so much space that cartoon is cornered. It is down, but definitely not out.
Thank you, Professor Gupta, for giving a clear insight into the subject of cartoons and uh, to the life of R.K. Laxman as a cartoonist and also as somebody who was keen on sharing his opinions on different issues that affect the common man. So the common man's figure we have been seeing in R.K. Laxman, and probably the days will come when we will be seeing more R.K. Laxmans in the newspapers and also near us and around us. Thank you again, and with gratitude, wishing you a very happy Dasara from all the members of Radio Koraput. We are also grateful to all the listeners of Radio Koraput for having patience to listen to us. Thank you again.
Thank you. Thank you very much.